I only speak English. Do you guys know what the biggest problem with that is? It's that I don't speak Chinese. Dude, the Abyss has got to be one of the dumbest and most confusing things I've ever seen, and I'm going to show you why. Because the word Abyss has like 3 different meanings from what I've gathered. It's first and foremost a place, another world if you will. Second, it's a guy and or a will, and third, it's an organization. But with our current understanding of the lore, each of these 3 uses of the word Abyss have different origins and came into existence at different points in the lore. There's the Abyss place, which has been here for an unknown amount of time, and then the Abyss guy, which both has and hasn't been here since the beginning of time, and then the Abyss order, which resides in the Abyss place, following the Abyss guy, despite the fact that both the Abyss place and the Abyss guy exist independently of the Abyss order. And guess what? They're all called the Abyss. Well done, Hoyo. Really, well done, well done. As I try to untangle this web, thankfully, however, there is one major point of commonality between the 3, and that's that they all stem from the Void Realm, which for those unaware, Teyvat has 3 realms: the Light Realm, the Human Realm, and the Void Realm. The Light Realm is where the elemental beings come from, so think things like the Sovereigns and the Bishops. They have elemental currents flowing throughout, and following the defeat of the Sovereigns, it's fallen under the control of Celestia. Then there's the Human Realm, which currently controls the Light Realm, but is not natural to Teyvat and was created by Fanes to house humanity. Despite the Human Realm and the Light Realm being controlled by the Heavenly Principles, both denizens of the realms often fight with one another, but for the most part can coexist with each other with no real problems. Similar to how the Light Realm has elemental currents, the Human Realm has ley lines. And finally, there is the Void Realm, home of the bastards. This realm is completely incompatible with both the human and the light realm and is extremely toxic to both. As a matter of fact, it's said only darkness from the Void Realm can stain the Great Rex Lapis' pillars black. Now it's important to note these realms aren't exactly places, as they are just like parts of the world people can tap into. So for instance, the Abyss and the Abyss Order uses the dark power of the Void Realm to conduct their, operations. And Celestia currently uses the power of the Light Realm to create elemental beings and give people elemental powers, also known as visions. So now, going back to the Abyss, let's start with the Abyss Place. This is a place that is deep below— I just used the word place a lot. This is a place— God damn it, bro. This is an area that is deep below the Earth's surface that's been described as, quote, another world compared to Teyvat. It's where the Abyss Order resides as they attempt to carry out their plans of engulfing the thrones, an idea that has been spurred on by the will of the Abyss, which there's like a 99% chance it's the crystal, but there's always that 1%, I suppose. The other worlds known as the Abyss has existed for an unknown amount of time and has had other beings come from there, despite not being a part of the Abyss Order, like Rift's Wolves, the one dude who was guarding the crystal, or hell, even a Manicore. Baby, just look. Chio, a warrior of the Oni tribe with the Electro Mitodome emblem emblazoned on her back, was once swallowed whole by a beast from beyond this world that had a tiger's body and a serpent's tail, while holding back the force of darkness. Why haven't we seen the cool— they got other cool shit in there like a Manicore. All we've been getting are these fucking like ugly ass flying wolves, bro. Give me the Manicore! Anyway, how many monsters that live in the Abyss is unknown. It's not all monsters down there though, as people like Skirk and probably her master have been in the Abyss for, at this point, hundreds of years. However, one interesting thing to note about the Abyss is the seemingly different effects it has on humans who are exposed to it. Some people get off light and only get a personality change, like Child, who went from being a baby back bitch to a cocky fighter. Some of the more unfortunate ones go insane, like A's friend Chio, who when eaten by the Manicore, saw visions of her friends being ripped apart by the beast. As such, she eventually killed the beast from within before eventually drawing her sword on the Raiden Shogun in a fit of psychosis. Her arm would then be cut off, leaving her fleeing into the forests, never to be heard from again. The worst fate it seems someone can have when coming into contact with the Abyss, however, is being turned into a monster, just straight up. While only mentioned once in passing by Asasi, she noted when waiting for her lover to return following the cataclysm, quote, he will eventually return to me, even if he were to be blinded by spattered blood or turned into a fierce beast by that dark defilement. I'm not sure what determines what will happen when someone comes into contact with the Abyss, given that someone like Skirk has lived in the Abyss ever since she was young and she seems perfectly fine, but she and Sortology seem to understand the Abyss on a whole nother level compared to everyone else, so they probably know how to avoid such a fate. So while the Abyss is an entirely different world composed of its own set of monsters, the beings we primarily interact with from there are the Abyss Order. Teyvat's resident terrorists, the Abyss Order hate humanity and wish to overthrow the rule of the gods. However, this is apparently at the behest of an entity known as the Abyss. Well done, Miha. Again, another round of applause, because this is some slick Rick shit you guys are pulling off here. with our very own loading screen about the Abyss Order writing, quotes, "Driven on by the Abyss, they covet the lives of those who live on the surface and dream of overturning the rule of the gods." They're just silly, that's what it is. They're just a bunch of silly guys. We'll talk about the entity later, but for now, let's clue in on the Abyss Order. They were founded sometime after the Cataclysm by one Clothar Alberic, after he came into contact with a chained crystal. Clothar, who was really horny throughout this entire quest for the experience he was getting.
I read about it in a book.
Would eventually be imbued with some abyssal power by the crystal. This confirmed to him that his sexual attraction to the rock was justified, and thus created a religion off of it. That religion was the Abyss Order. They are currently being led by the Traveler Sibiling, as they call her the Prince/Princess. And I mean, she said it herself, they're waging a war against destiny. A lot of the current members of the Order were once citizens of Conria. Furthermore, they're described as being, quote, addicted to the Void Realm's darkness, and recently have been enthralled with the idea of creating a mechanical god, despite their deep hatred for the gods. I mean, you gotta tip the hypocrisy. In any case, like we've said before, the Abyss Order is loyal to the entity known as the Abyss, man. The Abyss. Which again is probably the crystal, which is why he dubbed himself the Sinner. As Clothar said it best, salvation for a sinner can only come from a sinner, and with this mutual understanding, a blooming partnership between the two was born. I still hold steadfast in my beliefs that the crystal is the ultimate sinner, the Dragon King Nibelung, but we'll see. I mean, I suppose, look, Nibelung is like the only person in question who both has and hasn't been here from the start, as while he existed as a creature of the Light Realm prior to Fane's arrival, he left this world and came back with the power of darkness, as Apep said, probably becoming the Abyss guy. I mean, they both use the power of darkness, they both want to overthrow Celestia. I mean, Nibelung died, but he was the Sovereign, so he was reborn eventually. Like, there's not a lot of people that can check this box of being the Abyss guy. Nibelung, you're him, bro. You're him. Still one question I have regarding this entire Abyss thing. While I understand the Void Realm has existed since before the Abyss entity and the Abyss Order, how long has it existed in comparison to the Abyss Place? I suppose there's pretty little bearing on its relation to the Void Realm, but the question of how long the Abyss Place has existed is important for a couple of different reasons. The Abyss Place has been described in the same manner as parts of the Dark Sea, which is all devouring darkness. However, if the Dark Sea is simply places that extend beyond Teyvat's borders, and Teyvat is only a continent, then wouldn't that mean the Abyss Place is also a natural part of this world? If that's also the case, then why is it called the Abyss if the Abyss was brought over by Nibelung, meaning the Abyss isn't natural to Teyvat? Bit of a paradox going on there. Also, if that description doesn't comprise the entire picture, then that means the Abyss Place was created by something or someone, and the most likely candidate would again be the Sinner. But if all cataclysms stem from the Abyss, and the ultimate enemy to Celestia resides in the Abyss, then why doesn't Celestia just wipe out the Abyss Place instead of diddling with Conria? Especially if Celestia is constantly concerned with the truth of this world being rooted into the Abyss. I, for one, I don't know, bro. If I got anything wrong, please let me know. Or if you know the answers to these questions, please, again, let me know.